This episode is brought to you by Michelob Ultra. Michelob Ultra is perfect for more than just the summer heat this year, because not only is it refreshing and crisp with only 95 calories, but Ultra is also the official beer sponsor of Team USA at the Olympic Games Paris 2024. Celebrate every point, race, and moment with Team USA and Michelob Ultra for the Olympic Games Paris 2024. Stock up on Michelob Ultra and cheer on Team USA. Enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2024 Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Thanks for choosing this free Anfield Index podcast. If you'd prefer to listen to this or any of our other shows without adverts, then now's the time to check out Anfield Index Pro. With AI Pro, you can supercharge your entire listening experience. You'll not only get all of our podcasts without the ads, but you'll have them far faster with our Quick Publish feature available exclusively for subscribers. AI Pro also puts you in the heart of our sound studio, with an option to listen to many of our shows live and interact with the podcasters in real time as the shows are recording. Upgrading couldn't be easier. AI Pro is available on all popular podcast platforms. Just head on over to AnfieldIndexPro.com and get started today.
Hello and welcome to the Daily Red, your lunchtime catch-up on all things Liverpool FC on a Wednesday on which things are finally starting to happen. Today, we have had reports from Paul Joyce and David Ornstein naming the mystery six that both alluded to yesterday as Martin Zubimendi of Real Sociedad. The 25-year-old Spaniard is our number one target for the defensive midfield position. He has a £51 million release clause, and it looks like it's all systems go with Liverpool trying to get this one done. Now, not to speculate too much, but I would believe that the only reason Joyce and Ornstein have been given the green light to name him is that we've got an agreement with the player, or we're close to an agreement with the player on terms. I think it will probably come down to, do we pay the release clause or do we pay either a little bit more in installments or a little bit less in installments with easy to hit add-ons that would bring it to a higher fee. Folks, we really couldn't have done much better. Now, I would have preferred Varela because I think there's a little bit more physicality to his game. But Martin Zubimendi, as a ball-playing six, is as good as anybody in the world. Like, he is as good a passer, as good a controller as anybody you could possibly hope for. He's got elite passing range. He can pass with both feet. He's a really good dribbler of the ball. He works himself out of trouble very easily. He's really press resistant. He's more than comfortable taking the ball with his back to play, turning into trouble, working his way out, and then finding the right pass. Super high IQ, which will fit well with Alexis. I think you're going to be looking at one of the best ball-playing duos in any midfield anywhere. There are some concerns. Now, Zubimendi's very good defensively, but he does lack elite mobility. He's not slow by any stretch. He's actually surprisingly quick when he's dribbling the ball, but he doesn't have great mobility. Like, he doesn't have dynamic N'Golo Kante type mobility. Very few do. He doesn't have Ugarte's level of mobility. He doesn't have Ugarte's level of physicality. He's not the biggest guy. He's 5'11". He's quite slender, but he uses his body really well. And he does seem to have decent core strength. The concern is the pair with him and Alexis, just in terms of foot speed. And it is more obviously on Alexis' side than on Zubimendi's side, but you can mitigate that. The Arne slot out of possession shape will be a lot more compact than the Jurgen Klopp out of possession shape, where Jurgen relied heavily on athletes like Virgil, like Joe Gomez, like Robbo, like Gini Wijnaldum. Those were cheat codes for Jurgen that allowed us to play what was at times quite a reckless style. a very, very attacking, high-tempo, balls-to-the-wall style of football where we threw massive numbers forward because we didn't have creativity in midfield. We had an elite creator at right back, and we had a great creator on the right wing plus Bobby, but we didn't have an elite creative midfielder. So what we often did was we bludgeoned people by sheer force of numbers. That's not how Arne Slot plays. He doesn't want transitions. He doesn't want overcommitting. He wants more control. He wants more incisiveness, more creativity. And Martin Zubimendi fits perfectly into that. And him and Alexis as a double pivot is a very exciting prospect. Now, there are, like I say, some defensive concerns in terms of mobility. But again, the more compact shape mitigates that quite a bit. And the best way to mitigate it would be for us to go and land a defensive left back who can either step into midfield, so we have Zubimendi, Alexis, and said midfielder, or form a back three, so you have Kanate or Kwanzaa, Virgil, and this defensive left back with Zubi and Alexis in front of them. And that will allow us to defend a lot higher than obviously most teams do. We'll defend the same way, the same kind of field position as we have with Jurgen, but we'll be more compact with those four defensive players in Zubi and the three defenders. Trent can push forward, Alexis can push forward. Jurgen always defended with a 2 and a 2 before he lost the run of himself and went to a 1 and a 2, or at times none and a 2. This will give us more balance back to the team, more control back to the team, more ability to contain than relying on athletes making lung-bursting runs to cover here, there, and everywhere. On the ball, though, this is such an exciting signing. I mean, Sergio Busquets is the best ball-playing six that's ever lived. And Zubimendi's not quite his level, but he's pretty close. He's probably got a slightly better passing range than Busquets, but Busquets played in the Barcelona team where he was never really given the option to play long passes. Like, everything was short, quick, movement, rotations, etc., etc. Zubimendi can ping a ball here, there, everywhere. When you add that to Trent and to Alexis, it gives us so many deep progression options that no one else can match. You've also got Virgil as an elite level passer from centre back. Like, we are going to be able to pass our way through pretty much everybody. Again, there is a couple of issues, but we can mitigate them considerably. There is also the option that Alexis could play as the 10 and Zubimendi plays in a double pivot with somebody else, but we don't have that other player. We don't have that other starter quality player right now. Potentially in 2 years, that could become Bajcetic, and that would be a pairing that would work well. Zubimendi and Bajcetic, no question. That's a pairing that can work in time, with Alexis as the 10, Dom to the left wing. Gakpo would be the one that would drop out of that, because I think with this signing, what we're looking at is Trent, obviously at right back. Kwanzaa or Ibu is a question. I still think Ibu, because he is still a significantly better defender. Kwanzaa is better on the ball, though. There's no question there. Virgil. Left back is the big question, because none of the options we have really fit. And Robertson in that type of team, I think would become a significant liability. But then Zubimendi and Alexis, Dom as the 10, Mo right wing, Darwin or Jota. That's, I suppose, another big question. Darwin or Jota as the 9. I still think it's going to be Darwin. And I think Gakpo will get the left-sided position, because it's not a wing position. It's a secondary 10. It was at Feyenoord. It was before that at Alkmaar. It's never been a wing position, which is why the Anthony Gordon stuff was just weird, because he doesn't fit into that position. Now, Gordon could potentially play as the 10 because of his pressing ability, but he doesn't have the creative passing ability or the general footballing ability to play as a 10. He could be the backup to Mo, but he's not good on the right. He's good on the left because he can cut in field, but I've seen people say, oh, well, when Mo goes, you just move Gordon to the left and you change things around. But then you're changing everything, man. Then you're making a lot of changes to how the team operates. So I think Gakpo left works well. Dom left would work well. Carvalho left works much better than, say, a Gordon, who is that high last shoulder, shoulder of the last defender type of winger. Arne Slot's system has only ever had one winger in it. My assumption when he arrived was that it would be the left winger, and Mo would play more of that secondary 10 role, but it seems like we're going to go with Mo as the winger, and I mean, the pre-season shows Mo is well up for this season. Mo looks well up for this season, and with no AFCON this year and no distractions, I think we could see a pretty sensational year from Mo. That team, obviously, question mark over who the 9 is, but we have 2 options. Question mark over who the right side centre-back is, but we have 2 options. If we nail that left-back position, and regardless of Andy Hunter saying Liverpool don't think there's any other glaring gaps, I'm sorry, I'm not putting any faith in any journalist who's had absolutely no insight into what the club have been doing since Michael Edwards came back. Not a dig at Andy Hunter, that's just across the board. None of them have had a Scooby what the club are at. None of them. Not one journalist named Zubimendi before today. Not one of them as a potential target. We named him as somebody on our list in the transfer committee pod, but not that we thought we'd be able to go and get him. If we land him, that is as good as, that's an A-level signing. That's a top-tier signing. Especially at that buyout, 51 million. This is an 80 to 90 million pound footballer any day of the week. In a world in which Declan Rice, limited and all as he is, went for 105 million or whatever it is. In a world in which Enzo Fernandez, a similar type of player to Zubimendi, but not as good right now, went for 108. In a world in which Caicedo, tremendous as he is, went for 115, Martin Zubimendi's an 80 to 90 million pound midfielder all day long. And if you're naming the best 6s in the world, Rodri is the clear one. And that's unfortunate for Zubimendi because obviously they're both Spanish and competing for a spot in the same national team. I would say Tchouaméni is 2. And after that, I think Zubimendi might be 3. Like, who else would it be? You could make an argument for Guimaraes, for sure. I don't think he's a defensive midfielder. I don't think he's really a 6, but he plays there at a very high level. I think Zubimendi's a better passer of the ball than he is. I think Guimaraes is outstanding. I think Zubimendi's a better passer of the ball. Guimaraes probably a little bit better defensively off the ball. But I think that's the question, who's 3 and who's 4. But I don't think you get beyond 4 without naming Martin Zubimendi, being honest. I think he is an absolute top-tier signing if we can get this one done. And this will put to bed a lot of the whinge and a lot of the cry-arse. Because this is our biggest need. Now, we have 2 big needs, but this is the bigger of the 2 because last season we didn't have a top-class player there. The season before we had the ghost of Fabinho. This is a position that has been crying out for attention for a few years for us. This will put to bed the notion of Klopp's pull and not being able to get things done without him from both the cry-arsing corner of the Liverpool fan base and opposing fan bases. This guy turned down Arsenal this summer. he's turned down Manchester United this summer. If we land him, that's a massive coup for us. And again, I do think if it's at the point where we've released his name to Joyce and Ornstein, I do think we have to have gotten a green light from the player. I really do. But we'll see what happens over the coming days. It may well be done by tonight. It's like it may well be. The fee's not an issue for us. And once we get this one done, then we can focus in on the other position of need. Now, obviously, if Mo was going to be the winger, then we probably do need to address his backup. I wouldn't be surprised if Dario Osorio came back as an option, because he is someone we've looked at for a while. I think he would be, cost-wise, a clever move. 12, 14 million, something in that range. Probably gets that one done. He makes a lot of sense for us. But Zubimendi and get that left back sorted, and all of a sudden we are like legitimate title contenders again. Now, there's a number of options for that left back role. William Pacho was one. He's now going to PSG, so that's him off the table. There's still some people that think it'll be an attacking left back, like a Rayan Aït-Nouri. I'm not sure you can do that with an Alexis Zubimendi double pivot. I think you could do it if Alexis was the 10, but then I think you'd need to buy another midfielder. Now, if someone was to say, right, we're going to buy Aït-Nouri and Ederson, and we're going to play Ederson and Zubimendi with Alexis as the 10 and Dom as the left winger, that would be brilliant. It genuinely would be brilliant. And we would be incredibly strong back to front then. But I still think it's more likely to be someone more in the line of like a Piero Hincapié type. That sort of profile. Obviously, Alessandro Bastoni's name has been doing the rounds the last couple of days, an Indy Kayla exclusive. But a few people that would get information, one of whom had Zubimendi's name yesterday, have said that the Bastoni thing is real. It is a deal we're looking at. Inter have to sell because of their financial situation, and basically they're in a position where one of Lautaro Martinez, Nicolo Barella and Alessandro Bastoni would have to leave. So we could get that deal done from a financial point of view. The issue is convincing him to leave Inter. But with that said, if we can convince Zubimendi to leave Real Sociedad, where he's come through the academy, he is their homegrown star boy. He is to them what Trent is to us. If we can convince him to leave, then I wouldn't put it past us to be able to convince Bastoni to leave, because Bastoni didn't come through at Inter. Bastoni came through at Atalanta, and then Inter bought him. You know who else was in the Atalanta academy once upon a time? It's Richard Hughes. So there may well be some sort of connection there, some people that they know in common that Hughes can use as intermediaries. Bastoni would be the dream. Like, he is the best option, because not only do you get your left back for now, you get your Virgil successor at centre back as well. But it's stuck with me since he said it that Richard Hughes not only cited...
This episode is brought to you by our good friends at NFL Sunday Ticket on YouTube TV. I'm sure by now you've all gotten back into your Sunday routines, but they could be even better. With NFL Sunday Ticket and YouTube TV, you get the most live NFL games all in one place, every game, every Sunday. And you can even watch up to 4 different games at once with multi-view, one of my favorite inventions of this decade. It's exactly what you need to catch all the action, make your Sundays more magical. And also, YouTube TV is great. I got it this year. It's awesome. Sign up now at youtube.com/BS Device and content restrictions apply. Local and national games on YouTube TV. NFL Sunday Ticket for out-of-market games excludes digital-only games.
The Euros and the Olympics. And it makes sense for us to be doing this with Zubimendi now, because while the Euros did end a few weeks ago, he's only back from his holidays now. We probably didn't want to disrupt them. So it makes sense that that deal has been done now. But not only did he reference those two tournaments, he made a point of referencing the Olympics. And when I look at the Olympics, I see Lukeba there in the French squad, who would just be an incredible signing in that left-back role. Because he's elite on the ball. He's got an outrageous defensive profile. He does need to improve in the air, but he would be a sensational signing for us. Someone that you could lock into that role for the next decade and be very, very comfortable with the fact that you're going to have a genuinely great left back. Now, I think he's probably a little bit too short to shift over and play centre back for us, long haul, but that's fine. If you're telling me he's coming in to be the left back for 10 years, I'm absolutely on board with that. It's just stuck with me that he said the Olympics. And it made me wonder, well, who at the Olympics? Who would make sense? And there was a bunch of players, but he is the one that really is the standout, especially when we look at our team and what we need. Unfortunately, my Julian Alvarez dream is about to die because he's going to sign for Atletico Madrid. So I will be moving on to Julio Enciso hype in that position, because I just love him. He reminds me of Suarez for some reason. But he also reminds me a lot of Julian Alvarez, and I think he's got a similar type of ceiling as Alvarez, but he might even be more talented. And I'd love to see what he'd do in an elite level team. So I do think he'd be sensational. But yeah, anyway, back to reality. Zubimendi, based on the fact that those two are reporting it, I would say it's possible that it's well down the road towards getting done. And then my guess would be we'll move for that left back. And if it is a thing that we can get Bastoni, I think you get Bastoni. I think no matter who else is available, if he's a possibility, you go and you do that. If you get him, that's outrageous. Trent, Ibu, Orquanza, Virgil, and Bastoni. Like that's as good a defense as there is on the planet, if not better than any other defense. Best keeper in the world. Zubimendi and Alexis, Mo, Dom, Gakpo, and Darwin. Like, that's a strong, strong team. That's a team you'd put up against anybody and fancy their chances. But if it's not Bastoni, then again, Lukeba could be a great option. Piero Hincapié would be a great option. Inacio would be a really good option. I know some people are a little bit down on him, but he's a really good player. And he's also a great passer of the ball. If you had him and Trent as your fullbacks, plus Zubimendi and Alexis, and Virgil's passing ability, like, that is off the scale. The ball progression would be ridiculous. So much of it will come down to what Darwin does. But if we can keep Jota fit, then if Darwin is hit and miss, you bring Jota in, and he's a more reliable source of goals. But I really do think we're going to get a big year from Mo. I think that left-sided role will suit Gakpo so much better than any position under Jurgen Klopp. And I think Szoboszlai is going to have a breakout season as well. I think we'll see the real Dominic Szoboszlai under Arne Slot. Whether he uses him as the 10 or off the left, I think this way of playing will suit him an awful lot better. If we get Zubimendi, folks, be very excited. Be very excited. Because he is a game changer for us and leaves us just needing that one player at left back and potentially then a squad addition on the left wing, on the right wing rather, but we will be in really good shape. Let's check in with This Is Anfield and see if they've got anything for us today. I'd imagine there's some stuff on Zubimendi. The other thing with Zubimendi as well, I just want to make sure I have these stats right and give credit to the person that tweeted them. So most people will know Carson. He goes under WC_LFC_Torres. Martin Zubimendi, these are just off his profile things he's tweeted and retweeted. Martin Zubimendi has won possession in the midfield third more times than any other player in La Liga since the start of 22-23. So that's very, very good to know. Now, he had this stuff last night. Right. Last season, Alexis McAllister was dribbled past 2.3 times per 90 in the Premier League. Rodri was dribbled past 0.9 times in the Premier League. Zubimendi in La Liga was only dribbled past 0.6 times per 90. So that's very, very good. That would be a big help. Now, obviously, part of that is the role McAllister was been asked to play at Brighton. He was a lot better in that regard and hopefully gets back to that. But Alexis was dribbled past 40% of his tackle attempts. Rodri is 31%. Zubimendi only 28%. Best tackle success rates in the Champions League this past season. Minimum 20 tackles. Zubimendi is fifth at 78.3%. 199 midfielders have contested at least 150 aerials since the start of the 1920 season. Martin Zubimendi has the best success rate at 71.1%. 71.1%. 232 contested, 165 of them have been won. Magnificent. This is from Carson himself. In the 4 years since Zubimendi became a consistent starter for Real Sociedad, they've never finished lower than sixth, and they've never conceded more than 40 goals in La Liga. In the 4 years prior to that, they'd never finished higher than sixth and conceded at least 46 goals in every single season. Like, this is highly, highly impressive. This guy is the real deal. He lacks a little bit of mobility, but everything else is top tier. Reads the game at such a high level. Obviously, his passing is incredible. Spatial awareness is great. Good anticipation. This is a top player. This is Anfield. Lead story is on Zubimendi. The winners and losers from pre-season, we'll go into that. Liverpool's first 9 Premier League fixtures now confirmed. We'll have a look at that. There's a few more pieces on Zubimendi. 2 players make Barcelona transfer decision, could clear up Luis Diaz. Luis Diaz will not be going to Barcelona. He has not been reliably linked to them in months. People need to get over that idea. They've signed Dani Olmo. They're seemingly going to wait on Nico Williams, and they'll try and get him again next summer. Let's see, winners and losers. Okay, winner Harvey Blair. Really liked myself. I mean, he's got something about him, doesn't he? Harvey Elliott, winner. I'm not sure I agree. Don't think he played well. Really don't think he played well. Got 2 assists. Don't think he played well. Treliani, absolutely. Vitas Yaros, absolutely. Andy Robertson, obviously the injury is part of why, but I mean, he really doesn't suit this style of football. You watch this team play. You don't. If you're looking at that and thinking Andy Robertson fits this well, I'm sorry, you need to maybe rethink your views on the game. With Turo Endo, obviously did not go well. Reece Williams did not go well. I don't even think he went on pre-season, did he? Right, first 9 Premier League games. Ipswich, obviously, it's an away game on a Saturday at 12:30. The following Sunday, we play Brentford at home, 4:30 kickoff. Then the following Sunday, we play Manchester United away, 4 p.m. kickoff. Following Saturday, 2 Saturdays after, the 14th, there's an international break in between because, of course, you need another one. That's at 3 p.m. kickoff. The following Saturday, we play Bournemouth at 3 p.m. The following Saturday, we play Wolves at 5:30. That's on Sky. The following Saturday, we've got another 12:30 away. That's at Crystal Palace, who we always seem to play 12:30 away. That's on our friends at TNT. Then there's an international break. Then on the 19th, we're on Sky on the Saturday at 5:30. And then we play Arsenal on the Sunday, October 27th, a 4:30 kickoff on Sky. So of our first 9 games, 7 are on UK TV. 5 on Sky, 2 on TNT. So there you go. What else do we have? Liverpool.com. Any hopes and dreams for us? There's a piece on Zubimendi, another piece on Zubimendi. Arne Slot removes player from Liverpool shortlist. Let's have a look at what that nonsense is. Another piece on Zubimendi. 5 things spotted on pre-season. Piece on Thiago, piece on Diaz, a few more pieces on Arne Slot. This is great. Anthony Gordon's blunt one-word message is Liverpool refuses to give up on transfer. Liverpool have done nothing with regards to Anthony Gordon at all. Newcastle approached us. This notion that we're chasing him lives only in social media. I will give his agent credit. He's doing a good job at telling certain people, not journalists, certain people, about how desperate he is, about how he's homesick, and the like. And that creates all the buzz. But really and truly, there's been no movement at all in well over a month now. So the idea that we're refusing to give up on the transfer is just very strange. Let's see. Another name to mention is Gleison Bremer, never a player we were pursuing. So that's nonsense. We were never pursuing him. And he's also not very good, so that's fine. Anfield Watch. See if Maguire has written anything in the last few days that we can pick apart. Did see he wrote a piece about potential left backs. He went with kind of traditional left backs. Soler, the young Argentine who's been linked, Ait-Nouri, and then Hartman from Feyenoord, but he's out with an ACL tear at the moment, so I think we can rule out any possibility of it being him. Liverpool waiting for one domino to fall before sealing 20 million transfer. That's about Sepp Vandenberg. There's a piece about Danny Olmo, a couple of pieces about Zubimendi, a piece about Bobby Clark, who looks like he is going to leave him potentially on a permanent deal, but I'd imagine we'll include a buyback. A piece about Darwin. How Liverpool's 12 million gamble could find perfect Andy Robertson successor. The issue is he's not the perfect Andy Robertson successor because we need Andy Robertson replaced now, and Soler isn't ready to replace him now. And also, an attacking left back would leave us very vulnerable. Ex-coach names 2 world-class keepers Liverpool missed out on before signing Alisson. It's a piece about Queeveen Callagher, a piece about Pep and Linders. Let's see. So, obviously, Sepp Vandenberg has been linked with a couple of clubs, including Wolfsburg and PSV Eindhoven, but it doesn't look like either of them are going to come close to an offer that moves us on him, and it seems like we want to keep him. Now, the only reports that he wants to leave are coming from Germany. I wouldn't pay a whole lot of attention to what Kicker has to say, because their credibility went down the toilet in the 90s. Let's see. John Achterberg has said that when Roy Hodgson was looking for a number 2 goalie, I said we need to take Thomas Sorensen. Okay, well, Sorensen wasn't good, so that's fine. They signed Brad Jones. I suppose he's better than Brad Jones. The first goalkeeper I said to Camoli was Manuel Neuer. This is very much I did this and I did that, but I think there's some spoofing going on here. He also said we should have signed Samir Handanovic and Neto. Okay, but he recommended Neto, who's now at Bournemouth and isn't very good. So he's the guy that he recommended. I would imagine the scouting department had far more say, and the analytics department, than John Achterberg, to be fair. Right, AnfieldIndex.com. Lots coming in the next couple of days. Whole bunch of podcasts on your way. There is a piece about Zubimendi, a piece about Mamardashvili. I'd be very much in favour of us getting Mamardashvili and loaning him out for a couple of years if Allison has told us, look, 2 more years and I want to go. Mamardashvili will be the best possible successor that we could get. A couple of pieces about Zubimendi, a piece about Bastoni. The David Lynch podcast is up. He's talked about Zubimendi. The transfer show was up yesterday. That is Trev and Dave Davis. And there is an EPL market metrics show with Dave and Ben Boxack. Obviously, the good brother Trev Downey has been standing in for me the last couple of days. Massively appreciate his work. And unfortunately, you're stuck with me again. So, yeah, tough. But yeah, loads coming in the next few days. We've recorded a Scouted today. It is the first part in a 4-part Premier League preview, which will probably be like 4.5 parts, because when we do the Ipswich preview, we'll do our predictions for the season as part of that show, because realistically, neither of us are going to spend an hour talking about Ipswich Town. So that's it, folks. That's all I have today. Enjoy the rest of your day, and hopefully, by the time I speak to you tomorrow, Martin Zubimendi will be on his way to being a Red. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.
We hope you enjoyed listening to this Anfield Index show. Please be sure to subscribe to our channel so future podcasts find their way to your device automatically. There's nothing quite like fan engagement, and we'd love to know what you think of anything discussed on this show. The best way to get in touch is over on our free Discord community, where both podcasters and listeners debate the hottest LFC topics 24/7. Sign up free now at AnfieldIndex.com/Discord. You won't regret it. You can also follow us on Twitter at Anfield Index and find us on Facebook by searching for Anfield Index. Oh, and before you go, we'd love it if you could leave us a 5-star review on your favourite podcast app. It only takes a couple of seconds, and it means the world to the people who create these free shows.
Sports Social Podcast Network.